Think fast, talk smart. Communication techniques. Most people don't fail in moments that matter because they lack intelligence, experience, or preparation. They fail because their nervous system hijacks their thinking before their training has a chance to respond. Under pressure, intelligence doesn't disappear, it goes offline. And that distinction matters because it means the problem isn't who you are, it's how your system reacts when the stakes rise. You've felt this before, even if you've never named it. You're sitting comfortably, listening, nodding along, maybe even feeling confident. Then your name is called. A question is directed at you. The room shifts, attention locks in, and suddenly the clarity you had just moments ago evaporates. Your chest tightens, your breathing becomes shallow, your thoughts feel scattered, incomplete, out of reach. Words that should be obvious refuse to surface. In that moment, it feels deeply personal, almost humiliating, as if you'd been exposed. But nothing about that reaction means you're incapable. It means your body interpreted the situation as a threat and responded exactly as it was designed to. You didn't lose because you didn't know the answer. You lost because fear spoke before you did. This is the part no one explains clearly enough. Pressure does not reveal weakness. Pressure reveals conditioning. It shows you what has been trained and what has not. The people who remain calm, articulate, and steady under scrutiny are not magically confident or unusually gifted. They are regulated. They have trained their internal systems to function in environments that trigger urgency, evaluation, and uncertainty. They don't eliminate fear. They don't pretend it isn't there. They recognize it early, manage it deliberately, and keep it from taking control. Fear is not the enemy. Unconscious fear is. Anxiety in itself is simply information. It's the body signaling heightened importance. The problem arises when that signal operates without awareness. When anxiety runs unnoticed, it dictates everything. Your posture collapses, your voice tightens, your pacing accelerates, your thinking narrows. You begin reacting instead of choosing. But the moment you notice it, really notice it without judgment, you interrupt the cycle. Awareness creates distance, distance creates choice, and choice restores control. This is why awareness is not a soft skill, it is a leverage skill. What you can observe, you can regulate. What you ignore will quietly run your life, especially in moments where visibility and consequence are high. Most people, when pressure hits, make the same mistake. They try to sound impressive. They reach for sophistication, clever phrasing, complex explanations, or excessive detail. They believe that if they can prove how smart they are, they'll regain control. But complexity does the opposite. It increases cognitive load. Cognitive load amplifies stress. Stress fractures clarity. And once clarity breaks, confidence follows it out the door. This is why clarity always beats cleverness. Presence always beats perfection. Calm authority always beats forced confidence, every time. You don't need the perfect words. You need a stable internal state. Words follow state. They don't lead it. When you stop performing and start engaging, everything changes. Your voice naturally slows, not because you force it, but because your breathing deepens. Your thoughts begin to line up instead of competing. Your attention moves outward toward the conversation instead of inward toward self-monitoring. And in that shift, your message becomes easier to express, not because it's extraordinary, but because it's grounded. Here's another truth most people never fully accept. The room is not waiting for you to be brilliant, it's waiting for you to be clear. People don't need to be impressed to trust you, they need to understand you. Confusion creates distance, clarity creates authority. The moment you stop asking, "How do I sound?" and start asking, "What do they need to understand?" the pressure begins to release. Approval seeking collapses your presence. Service sharpens it. Communication is not about proving worth, it's about transferring understanding. The mind panics when it lives in the future. What if I mess this up? What if I sound stupid? What if they judge me? What if this costs me something? Fear feeds on imagined outcomes, but fear cannot survive sustained attention in the present moment. The present is too concrete, too real, too grounded. Bring yourself back into your body, feel your feet, notice your breath. Anchor your attention in what is actually happening, not what you're predicting might happen. You don't need control over the outcome, you need control over now. Outcomes are influenced by presence, not by obsession. And when the question is difficult, pause. Let the silence exist. Silence is not weakness, silence is command. A measured pause tells the room several things at once: that you're thinking, that you're not rushed, that you're not threatened by the moment. It shifts the tempo back into your control. People often underestimate how much authority lives in restraint. Listening in these moments becomes your greatest advantage. Real listening is not passive, it's active, strategic, and powerful. When you truly listen, you stop reacting to emotional noise and start responding to what actually matters. You hear the underlying concern, the unspoken assumption, the real objective behind the question. And when you answer that, people feel seen, they feel understood. Long after they forget your exact words, they remember that feeling. Structure is what saves you when pressure rises. A clear beginning gives your mind a place to start. A focused middle keeps you oriented. A decisive ending restores closure and authority. Disorder breeds anxiety. Order reduces it. Structure frees mental bandwidth, so you're not inventing responses under stress, you're executing something familiar. This is not about becoming fearless. Fearlessness is neither realistic nor necessary. It's about becoming regulated. It's about walking into situations that once intimidated you and recognizing that you've been here before, not because the circumstances are identical, but because your internal response is. You know how to stay steady. The strongest communicators are not the loudest, the fastest, or the most aggressive. They are the calmest. They don't rush to fill space. They don't over-explain to defend themselves. They don't collapse under scrutiny. They respond instead of react, and that difference is felt immediately. Once you understand this, meetings stop feeling like ambushes. Questions stop feeling like traps. Speaking stops feeling like a test of your worth, because it never was. Your value was never on the line. Only your state of mind was. When you master that, pressure stops being something you endure. It becomes something you use. It sharpens you. It focuses you. It turns communication from a liability into a weapon, quiet, controlled, and effective. Pressure is inevitable. Being ruled by it is optional. And the moment you realize that, you stop trying to think fast by force. You start thinking clearly by design.